Greetings, dear subscribers and casual listeners of my channel. Have you ever thought about what truly drives a person to embrace the path of darkness? What if evil is not born but shaped by pain, loss, and ambition? In today's video, you will uncover the tragic and chilling story of the boy who became Lord Voldemort. Tom Riddle, also known as the Dark Lord, he who must not be named, the very embodiment of terror in the wizarding world. He is the villain we all know, a ruthless sorcerer who stops at nothing to achieve his goals. But he wasn't always like this. Once he was just a boy, one who learned, dreamed, and even had friends. At what point did he transform into the feared Dark Lord? Did the darkness take root in his childhood, or was it a decision he made as an adult? And what was the turning point that led him down this path? Let's unravel the mystery. Wrap yourself in your invisibility cloak, and let's begin. The origins of Tom Riddle. Tom was born into a broken family. His mother, Merope Gaunt, was a pure-blood witch, a direct descendant of Salazar Slytherin. His father, Tom Riddle Sr., was an ordinary muggle, but their love was built on deception. Merope used a love potion to make Tom Sr. fall for her. When she stopped using it, he abandoned her, leaving her pregnant and alone. Weak and destitute, Merope gave birth to her son in a muggle orphanage where she died shortly after. And so from the very beginning, Tom Riddle's life was marked by loss, abandonment, and a deep sense of resentment. A troubled childhood. Growing up in the orphanage, Tom was different. Strange things happened around him, objects moved, animals obeyed his silent commands, and those who crossed him suffered misfortunes. He didn't just have magic, he had control over it, long before he knew what it was. When Albus Dumbledore came to take him to Hogwarts at age 11, the young boy was not surprised. He already knew he was special. He just needed someone to confirm it. The Hogwarts years, a brilliant mind with a dark curiosity. Sorted into Slytherin, Tom quickly became the most gifted student of his generation. His intelligence, charm, and ambition won him followers, students who admired his power and his ability to manipulate others. But Hogwarts also gave him answers about his past. He discovered his connection to Salazar Slytherin and the existence of the Chamber of Secrets. He learned about Horcruxes, the forbidden magic that could grant him immortality. And in his 5th year, he committed his first murder, using the basilisk to kill Myrtle Warren, later known as Moaning Myrtle. By the time he left Hogwarts, Tom Riddle was no longer just a promising student. He had already begun his descent into darkness. The birth of Voldemort. After graduation, Tom sought a position at Hogwarts, but Dumbledore refused him. Rejected, he vanished from the public eye, traveling the world in search of the darkest magic. He delved into forbidden knowledge, seeking ways to cheat death. When he returned, he was no longer Tom Riddle. He had transformed body, mind, and soul into Lord Voldemort. He gathered followers, the Death Eaters, and unleashed terror upon the wizarding world. The war had begun. What truly drove him to evil? Was Voldemort born a monster, or was he made into one? A combination of factors shaped his descent into darkness. Orphanhood and abandonment. He was never loved, never wanted. The pain of rejection festered within him. Pride and lineage. Learning he was the heir of Slytherin fueled his superiority complex. Unmatched ambition. He didn't just want power, he wanted to be the greatest sorcerer who ever lived. Resentment and rage. He despised his muggle father for abandoning him and his mother for being weak. These forces twisted him into the Dark Lord we know. But the question remains, was there ever a moment when he could have chosen differently? Or was his fate sealed from the very start? Tom Riddle's transformation into Lord Voldemort was not an overnight event. It was a slow descent, each step taking him further from the boy he once was. He had the intelligence, charm, and talent to become a great wizard, but his heart had no place for love, only for power. The moment Hogwarts denied him a position as a teacher, he saw it as proof that the world was against him. And so he vanished. He travelled far and wide, seeking the darkest secrets magic had to offer. No one knows exactly where he went, but rumours speak of shadowy corners of the world, hidden places where dark arts flourished unchecked. There he learned from the most feared sorcerers, absorbing their knowledge and surpassing even them. He was not just studying, he was experimenting, twisting magic to his will, going beyond what anyone dared to explore. One of the most horrifying things he pursued was the creation of Horcruxes. Most wizards shudder at the very idea, but Tom was fascinated. The ability to split one's soul and anchor it to objects, making oneself immortal, was the ultimate goal. But Horcruxes required the ultimate sacrifice: murder. Taking another life shattered the soul, allowing it to be torn and stored away. While others saw this as monstrous, Tom saw it as a necessary step. His first Horcrux was created while he was still a student. The diary, an unassuming object, held a piece of his soul. It was not just a hidden part of him, it was a weapon, something that could act on its own, whispering, manipulating, spreading his influence even when he was gone. But one was not enough. He wanted more. He wanted to ensure that no force in the world could ever destroy him. One by one he hunted down those who possessed magical relics of significance: the Gaunt family's ring, Hufflepuff's cup, Ravenclaw's diadem. He stole, he killed, and he hid pieces of himself within them. Each time his soul became more fragmented, but his power grew. His body began to change. The more he twisted his own nature, the less human he became. The handsome, charming young man who had once walked the halls of Hogwarts was vanishing, replaced by something else entirely. With his newfound knowledge, he returned, not as Tom Riddle, but as Lord Voldemort. His first order of business was to build an army. He did not need an army of weaklings, he needed loyal, ruthless followers. He sought out those who feared him and those who admired him, offering them power in exchange for their devotion. The Death Eaters were born. They were not just followers, they were his disciples, bound to him through terror and dark magic. The wizarding world was not ready for what followed. Voldemort's rise to power was swift and merciless. He targeted those who opposed him, destroying entire families, erasing bloodlines he deemed unworthy. Those who stood in his way disappeared, their names never spoken again. Fear spread like wildfire. The Ministry of Magic was powerless against him, auras outmatched and outnumbered. Even among those who despised him, many found themselves forced to obey, fearing the consequences of defiance. Yet for all his power, for all his influence, Voldemort was never satisfied. He had secured his position as the most feared dark wizard of all time, but fear was not enough. He wanted control. He wanted absolute dominance. The prophecy about the one who could defeat him haunted him. A child born at the end of July, destined to be his downfall. There were two possible candidates, Neville Longbottom and Harry Potter. He made his choice and went after the Potters. The night he came to Godric's Hollow was meant to be his ultimate victory. He killed James Potter with ease. Lily Potter, however, did something he did not anticipate. She sacrificed herself to protect her son, casting an ancient magic so powerful that even he, with all his knowledge, could not overcome it. When he turned his wand on the infant Harry, the killing curse backfired. His body was destroyed, his spirit torn from the physical world. For the first time, Voldemort felt true fear. He did not understand what had happened. He was immortal. He had ensured it. But now he was reduced to something less than human. He was nothing but a whisper, a shadow, a presence lingering in the darkness. His Horcruxes had saved him from complete oblivion, but they could not give him a new body. For years he roamed, weak and powerless, waiting for the right opportunity to return. That opportunity came in the form of a weak, foolish servant, Peter Pettigrew. The man who had betrayed the Potters, who had lived as a rat for years, was the one who would bring him back. With his help, and the help of other devoted followers, Voldemort regained a physical form, more monstrous than ever before. His resurrection marked the beginning of a second war, one even more brutal than the first. He did not make the same mistakes as before. This time he worked in the shadows, building his forces before striking. He infiltrated the ministry, turned allies against each other, spread chaos and confusion. He did not just want to rule, he wanted to rewrite history, to reshape the world into his vision. He wanted wizards of pure blood to reign supreme, while muggles and those he deemed unworthy would bow or perish. But for all his power, for all his cunning, Voldemort had one fatal flaw. He underestimated love. He did not believe in it, did not understand it, and so he never considered it a threat. Love had defeated him once before, and in the end it would do so again. As he and Harry faced each other in their final battle, it was not raw power that determined the outcome, it was choices. Harry, despite all the suffering he had endured, chose to protect others rather than seek revenge. He walked willingly to what he believed was his death, just as Lily had done for him all those years ago. And in doing so, he broke Voldemort's hold over his followers, over the world itself. Voldemort's end was not as grand as he had imagined it would be. There was no moment of triumph, no last act of defiance. In the end, he simply ceased to be. His own killing curse, rebounding once again, ended him. His Horcruxes gone, there was nothing left to anchor him. His body fell to the ground, lifeless, powerless, just like any other man. No longer feared, no longer a god among wizards, just a man who had fought so hard to escape death, only to be consumed by it. And so the legend of the Dark Lord came to an end. But his story remains a cautionary tale. A tale of how ambition, unchecked, can consume even the most gifted, how fear can drive a man to seek power at any cost, and how, in the end, love will always be stronger than hate. What do you think? Was Tom Riddle doomed from the start, or was there ever a moment where he could have turned back? Let's discuss in the comments below.